Tina Cooks, More Italian. This is made possible through the generous support of KC's Body Connections Massage Center, connecting body, mind, and spirit. G's Hot Dog Cafe, home of the Chicago Dog. Enterprise Bank, we help create opportunities for your business. Papa John's Pizza, Leominster, Fitchburg, Marlborough, and Worcester. Welcome to Tina Cooks, More Italian. Today we're doing Carne Trio, which is 3 meats. My 3 favorite meats over pasta. Stay tuned. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is I want to start by preparing my meats. My 3 meats are sausage, veal, and chicken breast. And they are my 3 favorite meats. I love pork, veal, and chicken. Now we're going to start out by doing the sausage first. And I'm going to take the sausage, it's in the casing. You can buy it out of the casing. And I'm just going to pinch off little pieces of sausage, okay, like this, out of the casing. And this is going to go in first, because the sausage takes the longest. Those are the intestines that they put the sausage together with. Now I'm going to do my chicken. Now, this is why I needed my blue towel. Carl, that's been driving you crazy all day. Now I'm going to do my chicken, okay, and I'm going to use my boning knife. And we've done this before. I'm going to make little tenderloins, like so, because I want them to all be kind of the same size, so we can work with them all the same size. Now the veal I'll probably add in last, so we'll do the sausage, the chicken, and then the veal. Now the veal I'm just gonna cut on an angle, and then I'm gonna just cut it into pieces like this, because you don't want a big long strip of meat. Now that I cut up all the meat, so we're going to wipe it off with the towel too. Then I'm going to have a nice clean board to continue with. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to cut up some mushrooms. And I'm going to take, I'm not going to use all these mushrooms. I'm going to probably use about 8 of them. I'm just going to wipe them off a little bit if they have a lot of dirt on them. You don't want to eat dirt. So now we're going to slice these. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in quarters, because I want everything the same bite size, you know. I like everything the same shape, same size, so that you're not eating a bunch of different shapes. Now, the history of this dish is a little funny, because we had gone out to eat a long, long time ago on vacation one time. I don't remember even where we were. My memory's getting bad. And they had this dish made up. They had the sausage, the veal, and the chicken, which I thought was really good. But the sausage was in the link form, and, you know, so I toyed with it a little bit. And they used Marsala wine in it, which I love Marsala wine. Marsala wine is great. But in this particular dish, I wanted to soften that sharp, sweet flavor. So what I use is lemon and white wine, and it just kind of like curbs it down. But if you want to try it with the Marsala wine, definitely go ahead, because it was delicious with the Marsala too. So I went out to eat, and naturally when I was working at Bobby Chick's, I tried it out there, and people just loved it. They thought it was great. So that's the history of this dish. So whenever I go somewhere and I eat, I like to try to improvise and add my own little thing to it. I'm going to have a couple of cloves of garlic too that I'm going to do. I'm going to put it over noodles, and when we get to the noodles, I'm going to alloy the noodles, and I'll tell you why while I'm getting this ready. when you do a pasta dish, if you're gonna mix the pasta in with the food, the pasta gets all nice and coated with a gravy or a sauce. It's not so dry and so plain. In this particular dish, I'm gonna put the meat on top of the noodles. So what I'm going to do with the noodles to give them a little extra taste is I'm going to al oil them, which is oil and garlic and parsley and cheese. And a little touch of butter. Yes, I use a little bit of butter in my al oil. Okay, now that we have everything prepped, these are just canned artichoke hearts. They're quartered artichokes, actually. They're not hearts. You can buy them in the store. I like them canned in the water. If you're gonna make a salad, then you can buy the artichokes that are marinated. But I think when you're making a dish like this and you use the marinated artichokes, they're too strong, even if you do rinse them off. So I like to use the canned artichokes in water. If you're fortunate enough to find them, you can find artichokes frozen, but I haven't had a lot of luck finding them. And we're gonna add our lemon. So I'm gonna just squeeze some lemon out of this. Okay, so now we're gonna just move all this stuff over to the stove and start cooking. Okay, now that we have our preparation done, we're gonna start the dish. Now this dish is not a complicated dish, but you do have to do it in stages. Now the sausage takes a little bit longer, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of olive oil. Now I've got my pan on a medium heat. I don't have it on blazing high because I don't want it on blazing high because I don't want everything to burn because the sausage is gonna take a few minutes to cook. Like, you wanna cook it through. So I'm gonna drop the sausage in here first. Okay. I'm going to press them down just a little bit so I can flip them after. All right. Now, like I said, I've got this on about a medium heat. It does take a few minutes to cook this dish. It's not complicated, but you got to take the time to do it right or it's not going to be right. Okay. So now I'm going to let this go. And I am going to cover this a little bit because it'll help them cook a little faster. Okay. Now we're going to let that cook. That's got to go at least 5-6 minutes. All right, now we're going to check this. I left this lid cracked a little bit so that the steam can come out. Okay, now this is ready, and this also splashes like heck. So I'm going to back up. Now you want them nice and done. I'd rather have sausage done than not. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to push those over there to the side. Okay? And I'm going to almost like put the heat on this part of the pan. I've got a really big saute pan here. Now if you wanted, you could flour your chicken lightly, but I'm going to add the flour at the mushroom stage. So there's, when you're doing a saute and you want it to be thick, you can add the flour with the meat, or you can add the flour with the vegetable. Oh, that's not good. With the vegetables. I am choosing to add them with the vegetables. Okay. Now this takes a little longer than the veal also. Now what I like to do with this is I like to season as I go along. I didn't season the sausage because the sausage has got a nice flavor to it. I like that sausage. Okay? So I'm going to start out with a teeny tiny bit of salt. Alright, so not a lot because we're going to do layers. You're going to season your veal, you're going to season your chicken, you're going to season your mushrooms. So by the time you're done seasoning, everything's done in a good layer, you know? And that's how you want it. That was granulated garlic. This is some crushed pepper, ground pepper I mean, like so. So I got my garlic, my salt. I gotta add a little bit of parsley. I'm gonna bump this up just a tish, okay? And I'm just gonna let this go for a few minutes. Now, there we go. We had a few repeats over the past week because my daughter Gina got married. What a nice wedding. We had an all-day wedding at the Elks, and it was fabulous. And of course, not because she's my daughter, she was absolutely beautiful. She had worn my dress, which was my mother's dress. So Gina wore a dress that was 62 years old. My Auntie Sonny Marama had worn it, my mother had worn it, and I had worn it. But when Gina wore it, we had someone retailer at Louise Nato. She's a wonderful seamstress in Lunenburg. And she fixed all the dress up for Gina, and Gina was stunning. She really was. What a beautiful girl. You know, you want to check these. Those are almost ready to go. You want to wait till the edges almost get white. Okay? If this dish doesn't take all 30 minutes of my program, I'd love to show you some of the videos we had taken at the wedding. Jack Selly took them, of course, and they were just wonderful. I'm going to flip this chicken over now. We're going to get it going on this side. Now I'm going to brown off all my meat because I want my meat all browned off and done because I want the flavors of the meat inside the pan. So that's why you start out with the sausage, you go to the chicken, and then we're going to do the veal. Then I'm going to just push it all out into the plate over here. Now I don't want to cover the chicken because I want the chicken to saute slowly. I don't want it to be covered and steamed. The sausage you actually want to steam so that it will cook faster. But the chicken I do not want steamed. I want it sauteed. So that's done differently. I won't use this cover now for a while. I'm still going to toss the sausage around because I don't want it to stick. Yesterday was the big go get my pumpkin and puree day. I spent the afternoon doing pumpkin, and I'll tell you something. I'm going to have a bunch of happy kids living around with me when I start doling out those pumpkin breads. I got a couple that are addicted to them. So we're going to push the chicken now into the sausage over here like this. And now I'm going to drop in my veal. This is something you want to do to impress people with. It's very basic, very simple, but it's delicious. I'm going to bump this up a little bit because all this meat is killing the heat in the pan. There we go. If you see that you put a lot of meat in there, it cools down the temperature of the pan. Bump that pan up because it will steam it. It won't saute it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And if you notice, I have the heat, most of the heat under the veal. Now, I'm going to season my veal now that I have my veal in the pan because, like I said before, we do seasoning in layers. It comes out much better. Everything has its own little taste, its own little flavoring, and it works out great. A little tiny bit of salt. Trying to cut down on the salt, so I'm using a little tiny bit. We're going to get some nice pepper in here. Now, another thing about this dish that I want to explain to you is I am using parsley, dried parsley. With this dish, because it's done with a white wine and a lemon, you can use basil, you can use tarragon, you can use thyme, you can use mint, you can use any herb you want to add to this because it's not written in stone you have to have parsley. If you like tarragon or anything, it'd be excellent in this dish. Just like I said, if you don't want the lemon and white wine, you can use the marsala. That's what I love about cooking. You don't have to stick to one idea. You can change it. Okay. And there's one other thing I want to mention about this dish. You don't have to use sausage, chicken, and veal. You could use sausage, pork, and chicken. You can use turkey, pork, and sausage. You can use whatever combination you want. I like the chicken. It's not a meat, but I like the chicken. It's a poultry. It works out very good. Now, this is exactly how I want this done. I don't want the veal cooked all the way because now we're going to take out this meat just like this, because when we add this to the sauce, and believe it or not, that veal is going to finish cooking over there, so we don't want to overcook the veal. It'll get very tough. Okay? I'm going to get my vegetables going next. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, to this pan, I'm going to add some butter because I want some nice buttery flavor. And I am going to put a tish more oil in there. Just a tish. Well, A couple tablespoons anyways, because I want to do my vegetables now. This is my garlic and my onions. I'm going to put that in first, and we're going to let those saute a little bit. Mix it in with all that juice stuff. Oh yeah. You can tell that this is going to be good, because you get all that nice flavor in the bottom. All right, now that that's going, we're going to throw in our mushrooms. And we're going to let our mushrooms go a little bit. Now, I don't want to put too many vegetables. Like I said, I got about 8 to 10 mushrooms, and I'm going to add a can of the artichokes. But I'm going to give these mushrooms a little bit of time to cook up, just a tish, because I don't want them raw, and I want to just cover them over nice and light. This will all saute, and it'll be wonderful. Leave it open a crack so that the steam comes out. Okie dokie. All right, now we're going to check these mushrooms, and these mushrooms are just about there. If you could smell this already, I can tell this is going to be a prize winner. Because if you could smell it, you'd know. All right, now the next thing I want to do is I want to deglaze a little bit. Now I'm going to put this up real high just for a minute, and I am going to get that pan good and hot because I want it to burn off the alcohol. I don't want it to steam my mushrooms. So we're going to make that real intense. Oh, you know what? Oh, big mistake, big mistake. We did not add the flour with the meat, so we got to shake in. Oh, good thing I looked, Carl. We got to shake in a little bit of flour at this point. All right, because I want to have a little bit of a, not necessarily a gravy, but a thickness to it, you know. So we're gonna cook off this flour just a little bit. I only used about a teaspoon and a half. No more than a tablespoon, because then you're going to have too much of a gravy, and I don't want a gravy. I'm going to let that simmer just a tish. This is a texture thing with my daughter. You can see how the flour is going to coat all the mushrooms. She doesn't like the texture of the meat being coated with the flour. So a lot of times, if she's going to eat the dish, I'll flour the vegetables instead of the meat. And that's important to me, that she knows that I do that for her. So I do that for you, Gina. All right. Gonna add a little bit of white wine here, okay? And I'm gonna add, let me see, this is about 2 ounces, which is about 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna add about half of that, I think. No, I'm gonna add it all, because that's not that much lemon. And we're gonna simmer this down. Now you can see how thick this still is, which I don't want this thick, but I want the brown along the edges. So now, this is chicken stock. And I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken stock to this, about a half a cup. And we're gonna take this down a little bit. There we go. Now, at this point, I'm gonna let this simmer. Now if you notice, as I'm stirring, I'm taking all that brown bits off the side of the pan, because that is where all your flavor is. You can see that I'm actually cleaning the pan off, because I want that all in here. Here, I'm going to put a little bit more pepper, not necessarily salt, because I'm going to do the pasta too next. I'm going to put a little bit of pepper in there, I want. And I'm going to put a little bit more parsley for color. And a tish more garlic, just a tish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this down to a simmer, because I don't want it to boil too hard. All right, and I'm going to add my artichokes. Now, I did rinse the artichokes with water. I don't just dump it in from the can. I rinsed it with water, okay? Here we go. If they're big, just take a little knife, cut them up, but I love them just like that. Now we're going to let this simmer a little bit. Once you get your meats cooked, this dish really does go very quickly. Ah! You know what? That's hot. Wow. Okay. Now I'm going to drop, I'm just going to use wide noodles. I'm not going to use anything fancy. Oops. Preferably don't throw the bag in there. I'm just a mad woman today. I don't know what's wrong with me. And we're going to let that cook. Okay, cover that up so it comes back up to a boil. Alrighty, now, I gotta taste this. I can't not taste it. I gotta check my seasoning. This is just too good to not check. All right, ready? Here we go. I usually stick my finger in there, but that's a bad habit to show little kids. Oh my God, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be so good. All right, so now we're gonna take all of our meat, and there's gonna be a little juice in this dish. Don't waste it. Put it right in here. And we're gonna incorporate this just like this. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of heaven. Can already tell. You let your veal sit in there. Now, you don't want to cover this because all the work you've done is gonna get ruined if you cover it. You want it to simmer down. You want it to pick up all your little gravies, and I'm gonna put this up a little bit higher because with the meat in here, you're gonna need to warm up the meat now. Okay, this is just about ready to go. I'm gonna get my pasta ready. I'm gonna drop 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm gonna put enough oil to coat the bottom. I'm gonna use a couple little garlic chunks like this. 1, 2, very garlicky. You only wanna use 2 if you get these. I wanna melt the garlic. That's important. To melt your garlic in here. Now I put a little bit of butter in there because I don't like just oil in my aloe. I like a little bit of butter for flavoring the noodles. I've always done it that way. Okay, now I'm going to take our pasta. I'm going to drain it. See how hot it goes out. It's not that hot. No. Nope. Okay. Now I don't mind a little bit of pasta water in these noodles when you aloe them. Okay. That's that. Now, I'm going to add some parsley. You can use fresh. I like dry. And we're going to add some cheese. About a fistful. Maybe 3/4 of a cup, half a cup. And then we're going to saute these all together. Because I like my noodles to taste like something. Because I don't like just plain noodles when you have a dish like this. Some nice fresh pepper. Okay. Oh yeah. I just got oil on me. Okay, those are ready to go. So this is how we're going to do this. We're going to shut everything off. And this is my plate. I'm going to put my pasta on first, which looks absolutely wonderful. And then I'm going to take my dish. I'm going to move it over here, Carl, so you can get a better shot. Okay. And we're going to put it right on the top like that. Now, if you want to garnish this with some fresh parsley or whatever you used in it, go right ahead. Oh, yeah. A little awkward, sorry. And this is it. I can't wait to eat this. This is Carne Trio. It's going to be wonderful. All right, now I'm going to taste this because I love this. I'm going to get a mushroom. I'm going to get a sausage. I'm going to get a piece of chicken. I can't fit my pasta on there with everything. Well, I'm going to eat the meat first. It's hot. Now I'm just going to taste a little bit of this aloe pasta, which is going to be awesome. Gotta try this dish. Go to my website, www.tinacooks.com. I'll have the recipe on there. Thank you for watching Tina Cooks More Italian. Have a good night.
When I was younger man, I had a kid. Fooling around, hitting the town, blowing my head.
over the rainbow. Why, oh, why?
Should I say welcome to Tina Cooks? More Italian. Okay. Ready? Hi, welcome to Tina Cooks More Italian. Today I'm doing Carne trio. 3 meats. 3 of my most favorite meats. Stay tuned. Nope. Now what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. Mushroom. I'm gonna get a sausage. And get a piece of chicken. I can't fit my pasta on there with everything. Well, I'm gonna eat the meat first. It's hot. Oh, wait, I'm frying. Oh.